Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. Happy Tuesday. Today I'm going to be doing the next 6 stages. That's stages 51 to 56 of the Fanhome release and build the world of Warcraft Lich King. Now this is an interesting build because I actually did this on the members channel on Sunday, and there's only 6 stages and they're really easy stages until stage 55 when things started to go. Actually they started good and then it just got steadily worse and worse and worse and worse, and I said you'll be able to watch that if you're a member or a Patreon member, but yeah, you won't see that in today's video because I was almost crying at the end of it. But I did succeed in doing that, and I have managed to do this pack. Now if you do want to get this for yourself, I don't know if this is available, I have put a link in the video description and you've got that QR code on the screen. But without further ado, let's get cracking. To start with, we're going to be doing stage 51. Now if you remember, this is what we done last time, and I had a bit of a discrepancy about what way round these should be. I'm still going to stick mine exactly like this, even though it's different to the instructions. The instructions don't make sense with this, but you're going to see that in stage 51. So this is stage 51 here, and not a lot to do. All we've got is straps for the other side and this sort of like spine piece which is going to go down, and these 2 little pieces here. So I'm going to be putting this spine piece in, screwing that down, putting the other 2 straps on, so it's looking like that, but we don't do anything with these 2 little pieces which are left over there. And then that is the rest of the magazine. Putting this to one side and bring over stage 51. I've got everything laid out here and I've just got to get everything open. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get this spine, and I'm going to be putting this into position just here. So we've got the 2 large holes here. These are actually going into the 2 small holes. Fits quite snug in there. It's going to be held in with LP screws, which I've got in this bag. And hopefully when I turn this over, we'll get this into place. So we need 1 screw in here. Perfect. And 1 in the other side. Now looking at these packs, or this pack, it looks like we're going to be doing the other side as well. So we are going to be building the same thing. Okay, that's the last screw in there. So that's in place. All that's left to do now is put the straps on the other side. So the way they've got this, again, it doesn't make any sense to me because the interior part here, I think, needs to be facing inside, but they want it this way round in the instructions. So we're going to be having that there, and then this one's going to be here. So I've got this the right way round, but I do think that one there is the wrong way round. I may end up spinning them around when we start doing the other one, because I do think that the folded side here you shouldn't be able to see. But we'll see how it goes. So we're just going to screw these into place with these flange screws. Now these are SP screws. So 1 there, and get in there, 1 there, and then just do the same on this one here. Okay, now with that last screw just going in here, that is all there is to do in that stage. And we do have these 2 little bits left over. I'm guessing these are probably going to be going into the tops and the bottoms here to complete this spine that's going down here, but they do want that kept to one side, so I'll keep these with that one there. But that's all there is to do in that stage. Okay, so stage 52. Here's the instructions. I already know there isn't much to do in this one. As you can see, we've got these 3 parts here, and I'm just going to be putting the straps just onto this side like this. And again, this is the rest of the magazine. So here is stage 52. Let's get this open. And once again, I've got 2 lots of straps to put in here. So we've got this one here first. And again, this seems to be the wrong way round. So I probably will change these afterwards so that this is on the other one here. Because I do think that that one is probably going to be better in there. But because this came in that pack, I'm going to do it this way. But this is going to go here, held in with an SP screw. I mean, obviously it's not going to take long to swap these around, but because they came in this stage, I'm starting to think everyone's going to have this issue. And 1 in this side here, Okay. So one in that side. And we're going to do exactly the same thing down the bottom. Again, they really want it this way round, but let me just look at the instructions. I think that's right on this one. I think they've got it right. It seems to be only these top ones that seem to be wrong. Cool. And there we go. With those two pieces in, that's all there is to do in that stage. Stage 53. Here's the instructions. Looking like this. And we've just got this one piece with 3 screws. And I'm just going to be adding this piece to what we've just created there. And that's all there's going to be to do in that stage. Not a lot in this stage at all. So here is stage 53. And we've got the screws. And all we're going to do is take this part. And I'm going to be putting this over the top of this part here. So it's actually going to go on just like that. And I've got these screws here, which are LP screws. We only need 2 of these. Make sure that's seated nicely in there, and then put 1 LP screw in there and 1 just in here. Excellent. And with that done, that's all there is to do in that stage. So stage 54. Here's the instructions. And again, I'm guessing we've got straps to put on. We've got this spine section and the straps to put on, just like this. So that's how that's going to look. And there's the rest of the magazine. Now I do happen to know that the next stage has got quite a bit to do. So we're going to be making the shoulder in the next stage. So let's get this open without cutting out this strap. Cool, make sure there's nothing in there. Lovely. And then once again, we've got this spine part here. These 2 parts here, again, we're not using those at the moment, so I'll keep them safe. I'm going to be putting this into place here, which follows the bend of this. So it's going to go in that way like that. And that's going to be held in with LP screws. And I'm going to screw this in just like this. 1 here and 1 in the other side just here. Perfect. So that is that spine part into place. And then all I'm going to do is just put these other straps on. So making sure they're round the right way. We want 1. Again, this one, oh God, okay. So this one here is going on the bottom, and this one here, again, I do think it's the wrong way round. I might have to change them later on in the build so the straps are the right way round, because I do want this part to be on the inside. So again, these are the I believe these are the S screws. So 1 there. I've got a wearer magnetizer here for when my screws do not behave on my screwdriver. I just do this. That should keep them in place longer and give me a bit more control, as you can see there. Okay, so the other one, I'm putting it in the way they want me to put it, but I do think I'm going to need to switch this, because again, look, this part here is towards the outside, which I don't really want. But I will look at that later and see how the best place to put this in is. But as for the instructions, this is the way they want me to put it in. Cool. So with that in place, that's another one done. That's all there is to do in that stage. So stage 55. Here's the instructions. And we're going to make a shoulder joint, which, as you can see, there's a whole heap of stuff in here. So we're going to be putting all of this together, springs and all, into these points here to make a shoulder joint. We also need this tool which they provided earlier on, and I do happen to have this on my back wall at the ready, so we're going to need that. This is hopefully how it's going to look when I've finished, and here's the rest of the instructions. This is stage 55. Get this all open. Lots of little parts in here, and I can tell you now, a lot of these shoulder joints are metal. You can hear that as they drop. First thing I need is this metal section just like that. I need it round this way because I'm going to be putting this joint inside here. Now when I put this in, it's going to be coming out the other side just like that there. And it actually fits quite deep into that cavity there. And what I'm going to be doing then is I've got a bush to put on, and I want the bush to be fitting in this way round with the concave section facing down. So that's in there like that. Then I want one of these springs. Put the spring in there, and then I need to close that off by putting this cover over, which looks like this. So this can just go over the top there, ready to hold both of these parts in. And they're actually held in with OM screws. Now this is a little bit tricky because those springs are strong. They're very strong. So I am going to have to push down. I am using a bit of oil in this as well. But once I've got one in on one side, I haven't screwed it in all the way. I will get the one in on this side. And then I'll screw that tight. Excellent. So now this is spring loaded. Very much so, spring loaded. Okay, onto this part now. If we have this, this is able to spin, as you can see. If we have this way round, we're actually going to be putting this into place just on here. To do that, we've got a pin to put in, which is in this bag. Again, lots of metal in this. So line this up, put the pin through both parts, and make sure it fits flush into that cavity there. And I'm just leaving that like that just for a second. Put that to one side, because then I've got this little part here to put in, which I'm going to need to put a spring on. Like that. Then this is going to go, if I can do this, I need loads of pairs of hands, into this cavity section here. So it's actually going to be going in this way. So this engages with the ratchet there. And I want the spring inside here to be going inside this cavity. This is going to be a little bit tricky.
A few moments later.
Okay, after several hours, I've managed to get that in there. Putting that in there is a nightmare. And I tried every tool, as you can see, that I could use. In the end, it was brute strength from my fingernails to get that in there. That is really hard. So the way I'm going to do this is slightly different. I'm actually going to put this in here so I can push this with my fingers so I can get the pin in now. I found it easier to do that, as you can see, this way round. So let me just get this all the way in. That's perfect. And then I'm going to be closing it off by putting this top on here, which is going to be going on here just like this. And I'm holding that in with HM screws, which I've got here. So one that side. That should hold that in place now. And then one this side. The last thing to put in is the nuts here, which is going to go over this one here. And then I need this tool, which they gave us before, just to tighten that up. Perfect. And once that's in place, that is how that should look. That's all there is to do in that stage. Stage 56. This is the last stage of this pack. And as you can see, here's the instructions. And all we've got to do is we've got this section here with these screws, and all we're going to be doing is attaching this to what we've just created there by putting 2 screws into place. So here are the last parts of stage 56. Get them all out. And all I'm going to do is take this section here that we've got. I'm going to be putting this into place underneath. So basically, this is going to be fitting into that section just there. And I'm holding that into place with these KP screws. I need 2 of these. So one in there and just one in the other side here. And there you go. So with that done and that in place, that's all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack. Believe me, hardest thing about this pack, getting that spring into place. And there you go. That was the bane of my life getting that spring in, but that's exactly how that looks. And obviously we've now done both of these. And I might think about, as I said, swapping these straps around because I don't want this bit facing outwards. That looks a bit weird. Anyway, I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.